Greetings, Ventures. This is Lauren, your guild advisor, and we got a ton of DanMachi related news to cover from the new DanMachi Season 4 PV, a clarification on when Volume 18 is supposed to release in Japan, a new novel announcement, the DanMachi mobile game has recently announced its 5th anniversary event and what it's going to cover, so a lot of covered in this video. There will be timestamps to everything. And concerning discussion of Season 4, there will be some light spoiler talk. I'm not really gonna spoil like the actual contents of what the season will be and what specifically happens in it, but there are some light things that I'll cover that you might not be comfortable with if you want to go in completely blind, so there will be lots of timestamps in the video description as well as links to all these sources and information for you guys if you want to look more into all this DanMachi news and goodness. But let's go ahead and get started with the new promotional video for the 4th season of the anime. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. I could not find any English subtitles for this, so I guess if you want to avoid spoilers, that's one way to do it with no subtitles. But we're gonna pull the video up. The audio is gonna be really low, so to avoid any copyright infringement. And bear in mind, the link to this PV will also be in the description because there's a lot of stuff to cover in this video, so I don't want to go through this thing twice. So I will be pausing when I deem it necessary in the middle of this video. So if you want to go through this without any interruption, I suggest watching the trailer first on your own through the link, and then watching it with me as I try to point some stuff out, but not try to be too spoilery as I know the content having read the light novel series. But the background right now looks really good. Standard Aina stuff, Hestia. I've already seen this once, but it's a lot more visual than we got last time, and it's giving me more confidence in this. These are newer characters, obviously. We would have seen them appear in Season 2 if they adapted the whole of Volume 8 properly, but again, I said my piece about Season 2 on how it needed more episodes, so I'm not gonna get too into that. I covered these guys before in some skip content videos. They also appear in DanMemo because they covered Volume 8 in their own way as well. Nice to see Daff and Cass again. I got Aisha and Haruhime, of course. We know they're all prominent because of the visuals. The Jigasumi gets their training. Hakugen, that's a name to remember. I wonder what Hakugen is. Expedition start. And we're gonna see a bit more of the dungeon. Fell meeting with Fells. It's gonna be an interesting meeting. Great Fall, the water capital. Now, the thing I really like about this particular arc is how you see how Bell has grown, especially after the events of the Xenos arc, how he's matured. So you're going to see a much more mature and confident Bell in this season, and it's going to be really cool to see. And Cassandra will have a somewhat prominent role as well. Lubis not in good condition. What could that be? What's that monster? What happened to Jigasa? Vel. Here's the OP song, new OP song. Get to hear a bit of it. As you can see, the mermaid talks. Yeah. I like the shot a lot. I'm glad they showed off this shot. I like this shot. It's good. Haruhime's gonna have time to shine too. No pun intended, obviously. Oh, Bell. Oh, Bell's gonna be... He's gonna be so cool. And pretty much all they showed right here is just Volume 12 stuff. This is just all Volume 12 stuff, and we assume, based on the green logo for 4 and then the fairy wings, that we're going to cover at least to Volume 14. So I'm glad they're not trying to show too much. Oh, I love. Oh God, yes. Oh God, come back, my boy. I love it. Oh God, this looks so cool. I know what that's probably referencing. Oh, it's a good scene. So yeah, that's the new PV. We got it. We had that same July 22nd date, so that's when we should be looking forward to watching it. And I know over the course of the past few days, there was a leak rumor. I'll pull that up real quick. So here it is by the Twitter account Segoy Light. They have like broken some legitimate news before, so they do have a somewhat credible reputation. So it says right here, TV anime DanMachi Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon 4, Season 4, broadcast in 2 cores with a total 22 episodes. So if it was 22 episodes, that explains like the somewhat like 2-week late start into this upcoming summer season. But again, guys, remember this is a rumor. It's not 100% fact. But there are a couple of things I will cover later on in this news video that may give some more credibility, or it kind of makes sense as to this being 22 episodes. If they're trying to get certain things to align with all these announcements, I'm very hopeful. I'm wanting this to be 22 episodes because, as I've said in the past over the course of covering the season 4 material up to this point, like, please be 2 cores. Please give us more than the standard like 12 to 13 a core of episodes, because it desperately needs it, because it is a kind of a long arc, though I think 22 episodes is actually kind of long to cover the 3 volumes in question. So I'm wondering if they're going to incorporate some of 15 to act as an epilogue, and then some other things. I'll discuss that later on. I do want to show off like some of the character design sheets that Segoy Light also got. These here are just stills from the PV, so you guys can just pause the video to look for those. But here's like a character design sheet for expressions for Luvis, Mari, I guess I can say her name now, and I'm not sure who this is, to be honest with you. I had to look over this, or it might just be some minor character. I know Dormal and Luvis are like the important guys. That's not Dormal. This is Luvis though. But yeah, and then you get a full character design sheet for Mari, as you can see right here. She said she was a mermaid. We know about the existence of Xenos, so I think you guys can put 2 and 2 together as to what who Mari is, or who they're alluding to in the PV. So based on what we just saw from the latest PV, and then the possibility of this being 2 cores, I'm getting more and more optimistic about Season 4. But let's also cover some other news. Here, as you can see, Astrea Record has been announced to be turned into a novel series. If you guys aren't aware on what Astrea Record is, I do lightly touch upon it in my big like DanMachi experience video, where I go over like a lot of the different ways that you can experience DanMachi through the light novels, the anime, the manga, the games, the mobile game. Basically, Astrea Record was the 3rd anniversary event in the DanMachi mobile game Memoria Freze. So in the mobile game with these various anniversary events, the author of the light novels, Fujino Omori, actually writes the scenarios for them, and a couple of them are actually kinda canon to the DanMachi story as a whole. One being the 2nd anniversary event in Argonaut, and then the 3rd anniversary, which is this one right here, which is Astrea Record. And as you can see right here, Ryu, a character a lot of us know well, my favorite character, she is a very prominent character in the Astrea Record story, as it is concerning her old familia. And if you guys seen Season 1, you know that her old familia is now gone, and with her being the sole survivor. So Astrea Record tells the story of the past, and we learn a bit more about her familia and what they went through. And it's really cool that it's like actually being turned into a novel series, because it just kind of further legitimizes the story of the mobile game like being made in the canon. Like, it was also like super long, so it's like it's always seemed like Mori Sensei always intended for this to be a book with how long the event was in the mobile game. Like, it's a ton of voice content. And if you see my like DanMachi experience video, I do give a link to those actual like voice parts, those visual novel segments in the mobile game, and it's like almost like 8 hours long if you just autoplay it. So it's a long thing. So it's really cool to see it being turned into a light novel form. We don't know if it's going to be translated into English. I imagine that Yen Press would want to get a hold of this because they're running out of DanMachi material to translate, with volume 17 coming out later this summer, and then we'll be caught up with the Japanese release until volume 18, which I'll mention later on in this video. And just some more detail regarding the Astrea Record like novel adaptation. It is this right here. This is from Auto Translate. It says Toshio Sato, written by Toshio Sato. That's a mistranslation of a Auto Translate. And the weird thing about this mistranslation is that Toshio Sato is the author of a light novel series by the same publisher. They write Suppose the Kipper in the Last Dungeon Boonies moved to a starter town, but obviously that's not who wrote this. The kanji for the author is what I'm highlighting right here, and that kanji matches up with, I don't know if you can see this, but this is Fujino Omori's name, and this is the exact same kanji as used in that tweet. So yes, this is Fujino Omori, the light novel author of the DanMachi series, also writing these books. And I think that explains a lot, which I'll go into more detail later on. This is super exciting. It's also going to be illustrated by Kakage, and it seems like with every new iteration of the DanMachi light novels, between like the main series, Sword of Artoria, Familia Chronicle, and now this, there's always a different illustrator. And if you guys follow HoloLive, Kakage is actually illustrator for Takane Lui, so that's kind of cool. And they also did their own confirmation post right here on them being the illustrator for the series. And as you can see here, they're doing a 3 consecutive month release. I think it's just going to be 3 volumes, but starting on October, they'll release the first volume, and then of course November, December, the following 2 novels will follow. So 3 novel releases within the span of 3 months. It's kind of crazy. And I guess I'll just get into this now on the topic of light novels. But for those of you following the Japanese release, volume 18 is planned to be, it concerns Freya Familia, and it's planned to be released this winter, upcoming winter. Now that could mean like December, January, February, so who knows how long. I don't think they want to release this in the same month as the last part of Astrea Record, so probably January or February is a better bet on when this is releasing. But a lot of people, Japanese fans in particular, have been like wondering where the heck volume 18 is, because it's been over a year in Japan since volume 17 has released. And now that we know that Omori Sensei wrote, now it's not like Omori Sensei wrote Astrea Record from scratch, but he still had to adapt it into a light novel format. But we're releasing 3 consecutive novels within 3 months. So I think I have a good idea of what Omori Sensei was busy doing in all this time. And I guess we'll just get into like the speculation now, guys. So also like maybe some light spoilers for season 4, but not really. I'm not gonna be talking about like specific things. But if you are super sensitive, I'll leave a timestamp for you guys to skip to for the next news topic of the video. Okay, so now we're going to delve into some big brain speculation. So initially, with this rumor leak of DanMachi Season 4 being 22 episodes, that's really funny. I don't even remember getting this. Whatever. I remember getting this tweet at me. I apologize for not answering, but we're about to answer this anyway. So, anime fan 71109, you're about to get your answer with the speculation here. So, I initially didn't want to place my hopes in this 22 episode season. But with that recent announcement of Astrea Record aiming to be released starting on October and then for 2 consecutive months, be released into November and then December, that changes things because, as light novel readers know, Astrea Familia is mentioned in the contents that will be in season 4. So that gets the brain spinning. If it does start releasing in October, that puts it in the middle of the supposed 22 episodes season, and that's around the time where we would start getting into volume 14 stuff, where the Astrea Familia stuff starts getting mentioned. So that's like perfect timing. It just feels so too coincidental for like this 22 episode thing to not be true. So I am leaning towards, I want so bad for this to be true now. And it seems like signs are starting to point in that direction, because it's just too perfect, with Astrea Record being prominent in the later parts of the story that season 4 is supposed to cover. Now, the thing I mentioned before is that 22 episodes seems like too many episodes to cover just 3 novels. Like, there are ways for them to stretch that material, and one of the ways, of course, is to incorporate some of Astrea Record into that. Like, I guess bigger spoilers, I suppose, for season 4. There are flashbacks concerning Astrea Familia, but they're kind of short. And one way to make use of the full 22 episode slot time that is rumored is to incorporate some of this material into season 4. And one other way for them to have more content for this season, besides the 3 novels, 12, 13, and 14, which make up like the expedition arc, the other thing they could do is try to take some of volume 15. Now, volume 15 is interesting because it's mainly like side stories that take place in the past, and usually those don't get covered in the main anime, like with how season 1 skipped like the Naza backstory, skipped the side story of Hestia meeting Belle. So if they were to incorporate some of 15, I think it would only be like the present day stuff, which would work really well as an epilogue and a possible transition into maybe a season 5. But there's currently not enough material for a season 5. That's where volume 18 comes into play. So that is there are a few ways they can go about making use of that 22 episode runtime, because I thought like that's a bit too long, but we do have ways to make that work between Astrea Record and then using parts of 15 as a type of epilogue, but not the whole thing, because there are side stories in 15 which would be really out of place at the end of the epicness that is the arc covered that will be covered in season 4. Be really out of place to like have this epic arc it end and then go into like 4 episodes of side stories that are mainly taking place in the past. That'll be incredibly awkward, but like a 1 episode epilogue, that makes more sense. So yeah, those are my thoughts on how a 22 episode run could be accomplished. I really hope that's true, because there's like so many factors to where that seems to be more credible given recent news, because it just makes so much sense to promote Astrea Record's novel adaptation this way, because season 4, its later parts, will be very related to Astrea Familia in ways. Anyway, let's get into the final part of the news. This is for people who follow the DanMachi mobile game Memoria Freze. Now, I covered the mobile game intensively before, and then I kind of got burnt out at covering the mobile game. Like, I'm not really here in terms of DanMemo. I'm not really there for like the game part. I am there for like the stories and the character interactions and the full voice acting. I get a lot out of that, so I do want to bring attention to it when it does stuff like this. especially like these anniversary events, which are written by the light novel author. And it seems he's delving into his lore again. So the 5th anniversary is going to be about the Knights of Fianna, and we're gonna quickly play through the PV. Again, this is a long video, that's why there's a lot of timestamps, because there's just so much news today. Alright, this is kind of a long PV. It's like almost 4 minutes long. I'm gonna be talking over a lot of it. There's no official English sub support, official English DanMemo account. What are you doing? Why is there no English subs for this when the entire story is going to be subtitled and translated? I'll turn the volume a tiny bit. I'm not getting in trouble for this. This is Ryu's voice actress, Saori Hayami. This is the character known as Ryulu. They're like a chronicler of past tales. So it's really, there's like a lot of Ryu focus with all these announcements, like Ryulu, Ryu, Astrea Record, and season 4, and she has her own. Saori sings an OP for the 5th anniversary event. It's crazy. She's also doing the ending theme for season 4. Lots of Ryu love. So, Fianna right here. This is the Palom or Prum, whichever translation you use, of Finn and Lily's race. That she is like the fabled goddess of the race. She's not a true goddess, as we are, as Finn says in volume 8. You don't get that in season 2, where that conversation would have taken place. But yeah, this takes place in the past about the Knights of Fianna, and as you can see, a lot of these characters resemble characters that we know. Like, let me real quick. I apologize for skipping all over the place. Again, this is Fianna, who closely resembles Lily. Another character who closely resembles Finn. Like, you'll see this a lot. That this is the same way this resembles Lyra. You'll see this a lot. How these characters resemble characters already know. This is Meryl. You might not know who she is. She's from Hermes Familia. This resembles Raoul from Loki Familia. This obviously resembles Aki Anakiri from Loki Familia. So, just like Argonaut, which had characters that resembled the characters we know, this is the exact same way. So, it's not necessarily like they're ancestors of the characters we know. They could be reincarnations. It could just be a way for us to more easily recognize the characters. Like, don't try to... They also have the same voice actors, so it's ambiguous. But don't take too much of it until like it's actually clarified that they're actual descendants or ancestors and all that. But I like how Omori treats these mobile game events, because with Argonaut, Astrea Record, and now this, he's just delving into like the world building and DanMachi. Well, and it's not necessarily like, oh man, you needed to read the mobile game event to get the most out of the light novel. Like, that hasn't really happened yet. I don't think light novel readers have been left in the dust if they haven't like touched a mobile game. But you also don't need to touch the mobile game. A lot of people upload the mobile game events onto YouTube so you can experience the stories that way. But this is definitely going to be interesting, because again, Omori likes to like use these mobile event scenarios, these anniversary events, to tell more about the world of DanMachi in a way that like doesn't distract from the main story. It's like, if you want to know, this is the story of the Knights of Fianna, this is the story of Argonaut, this is what happened 7 years ago with Astrea Familia. It's nice. Stuff about the past. I'm very interested to see what happens here, because Fianna is not a true goddess. But this might give us a clue as to why the Prums thought that Fianna was a goddess. Like, maybe she was a prominent figure back in the past, and a legend just grew and people thought she was a goddess through like the stories told about her. And we'll get into the slides real quick. I don't want to dive too deep into it, because again, I don't want to cover the mobile game too in depth, but we'll go over some slides here. So here, 5th Japanese anniversary, Great Tale, Knights of Fianna, Knight's Glory. This is the story of the Great Hole, the origin of DanMachi. The Great Hole is basically what becomes the dungeon. The dungeon is the Great Hole, and then a cap got put over it, and that's why it's called the dungeon. So this is a story about the deep, deep past. Knights of Fianna, long ago, before the arrival of the gods, a time when monsters came out of the Great Hole and roamed the earth. It has been 10 years since the clown dance and the ship of heroes sailed off. That's the Argonaut story. Among the many heroes, there were the little ones. So the Prum race, they are the Knights of Fianna. People praised them. They were the royal spear. The world praised them. They were the saviors of the land. This is about the tracks left by the knights that lived through the age of heroes with bravery. So this is before the gods descended into the world. And a story about the false knight that was entrusted with the saint's will. Here you go. The original story by Fujino Mori, author of the light novel series, set in the ancient times before the gods descended to the lower world. I just said that. Depicts the trajectory of the Great Rebellion operation. I'm not sure what that means. We'll find out. In which mankind reached the Great Hole for the first time. Featuring the Knights of Fianna, goddess of the Palms, who lived during the time of Argonaut, hero of the dawn. A 3-part tale about the origin of DanMachi. So, real cool if you're a big, like, lore buff. Really exciting. And again, takes place 10 years after Argonaut, which was a really cool 2nd anniversary event. Definitely check that out if you haven't. Links to that and a lot of the DanMemo stories, the big relevant ones, are in that DanMachi experience video. So yeah, we don't need to go over too much of this. I said this before, Ryulu. Looks a lot like Ryu, same voice actress. She's doing the theme song for part 1 of this event. So lots of Ryu stuff happening. Like, I feel like they're just throwing out all the cards for DanMachi with season 4. Like, so much stuff. The 5th anniversary, the shows like put this stuff all at once. Like a big boom. DanMemo 5th anniversary, DanMachi season 4, Astrea Record, novel Adaption, 3 consecutive months, right where season 4 would be in the middle of this 2-core thing. It's real. So much stuff. You see it. Look into the characters. Fianna, Deem, I think that's how they're going to pronounce it in Japanese. Melia, who I said looks like Meryl from Hermes Familia. Helga, who looks like Lyra from Astrea Familia. She looks really nice with the ponytail. Raul looks hell of a lot cooler like this. Lazar, he looks so much cooler with his hair down. He really is standard anime protagonist now. I don't know why they chose to make Anakitty or Aki's counterparts in this a cat girl lolly, but here we are. Ryulu, the Observer. She seems to be a character that is present for these grand tales, and she goes and writes them down. And there's the character sheet, so I don't want to get too into this. Captain Goal, like you see, they list the voice actors here for like these characters, but not Captain Goal, who looks a lot like Fells. But I don't think Fells is that old, but it is quite the decision to not put the voice actor's name there with the character that resembles Fells. Like, we'll see, I guess. We will see. Like, even characters that are completely original, that don't resemble other characters, have voice actor names on them. But not Captain Goal for some reason. But yeah, that's all the DanMemo stuff, and that should start next week on the 22nd if you do play the mobile game. But yeah, that was a lot of news to cover. Hopefully the timestamps were useful. I'm very much looking forward to season 4. Like, the more stuff they show us of season 4, the more excited I'm getting. I'm like praying that rumor leak is true about this season 4 Adaption being 22 episodes, because of other things I mentioned earlier that just seem to support that. Like, everything's lining up and makes sense in terms of promoting the Astrea Record novels. It's just all lining up. Oh, please be true. Please be true. But yeah, we'll continue to cover season 4 as we get closer and closer towards that July 22nd start date. It's gonna be really fun. There will be weekly videos. I think that's how I'm gonna plan to do it. Before, I would do these long, like, episode review, cut content videos where I film myself. I'm gonna try and experiment with the format. It's just gonna be me writing a script about the stuff that was skipped and maybe inserting some opinions about how the content's being adapted. But I'm gonna try and experiment with that kind of format, like not have a capture of me talking, but me doing more of a scripted video with visual aids in like terms of a moving video, but in ways to not infringe copyright. So we'll see how that goes. But if this is indeed 22 episodes, that is a 22-week commitment of analyses and script writing. So that's going to be interesting if that's the case. But if it's 22 episodes, I'll be happy to do it because that means we're probably going to get like the best adaptation of DanMachi so far. Omori Sensei is more involved in terms of how the adaption's happening, so hopefully all these signs are pointing towards the right direction in terms of this being a good adaptation. But yeah, this video has gone on long enough. I'm excited for all this DanMachi stuff. It's just a big explosion with all this stuff. But yeah, guys, if you want to see more DanMachi content, go ahead, like this video, sub to the channel, follow me on the socials. And as always, this is Lorne, your guild advisor, signing out.
渦を巻く雨雲から差し込んだまっすぐな強い